country. I would like to see how justice will travel.
Gosh, watching those videos really makes you start to think about the impact that Ashoka can have in so many different parts of the world.
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about, what have been some of the results of these projects?
Well, for example, Rodrigo Baggio, the social entrepreneur that we see from Brazil, he started in one favela in Rio de Janeiro in 1995. Now he's in more than 7 countries in Latin America.
What?
And he's starting the project also in Africa in 2 more countries.
So he started with one favela, which is the poor social sector in Rio de Janeiro.
Exactly.
In 1995, and now
he's in 6,000 locations only in Brazil, but not only in Brazil, but also in 7 countries in Latin America and in Africa. Last year, Rodrigo...
And remind me, this is his project where he's trying to put computers into these impoverished zones so children can learn how to train and operate a computer, which is absolutely critical in this day and age.
Yeah, diminish the digital gap between the poor people, and the people that have
better
access.
Resources. Sure.
And he really made an incredible impact.
And how did he grow so quickly? What is it that Ashoka gave him, and how did Ashoka help him grow?
Well, Ashoka, not only we gave a stipend for 3 years, that is a salary.
And what's like an average stipend that Ashoka might give to
an entrepreneur? That depends on the country, but in Latin America today it's like $2,000. That is a lot of money in Latin America because of the devaluation processes. But for example, we have different partnerships, global partnerships like McKinsey.
McKinsey Consulting?
Exactly. And we have a Center for Social Entrepreneurship in Brazil with McKinsey. Another of our partners is Hill & Knowlton. That is a public relations company.
Sure, and are they helping promote these various projects and get the word out?
And open doors for these social entrepreneurs all over the world. So without the most important thing, it is not the money, it is the perseverance and
perseverance of making sure that these things come to fruition.
The determination and also how you can open these doors and have a solid project for the future.
Alberto, it's fantastic to hear about so many success stories. Stay tuned for more information on Ashoka and social entrepreneurship after this break.
Security, I think, is not always a given, which may have been something that we took for granted in the past.
To ultimately be the victor in the war against terrorism, we need all Americans to be engaged, down to the point where we ask mothers and fathers to think about doing some simple things at home to protect themselves and protect their children.
No terror that's even greater, not knowing if your children are safe, if your family's safe. Doesn't come worse than that.
People and your children understand that there is a plan.
Having these plans in place is just sort of common sense.
Establish like a communication plan, how to get in touch with each other.
You'll have a radio, you'll have a flashlight, you'll have batteries.
Make sure you have enough water and food.
Have your basic essentials that you would need in everyday life.
You will have done something to prepare. You were in control. You had a choice. We're asking America to be ready.
People will pull together and people will make it through this.
Welcome back to Miami's Global Connection. I'm Whitney Belker. Alberto, we were talking about the impact of Ashoka. And clearly one of the most important factors of Ashoka is the fact that Ashoka as an organization can help provide the appropriate financing for these entrepreneurs to really pursue the dreams and the changes and do the things that they want to do. Yeah. How does Ashoka make that financing possible?
Well, first of all, we have a selection process in all the countries that we are present. The selection process lasts 6 months. In the selection process, initially we have hundreds of nominators all over the world, but you can auto-nominate also through the website.
So we're talking about how someone can become selected as an Ashoka fellow.
Okay. Exactly. And after that, well, there are 5 steps. We have interview with our representatives in each country. then a panel, second opinion reviewers, and finally the board. It is the one that approved the Ashoka Fellowship.
Now, does Ashoka work with any individuals that simply just has an idea and wants to start something, or do you work with people who are a little further along and have already proven that their concept?
We are looking for people that are in the early stage of the process.
The entrepreneurship process.
That's why Ashoka is so different from other organizations, because other organizations are looking only to finance organizations in the non-for-profit sector that has 10 years or 15 years of experience.
So, for example, if there's an individual in I don't know, Bolivia or Mexico that wants to start a literacy program to help educate children who are having trouble reading, or I don't know, and make it a mobile bookmobile or something. These people can apply to become an Ashoka Fellow?
Yeah, of course. He can go to the website and apply to Ashoka, and we're going to look at his idea, the creativity of this idea, and the potential of impact of the idea.
And how many applications does Ashoka typically receive in a year?
Thousands of applications from all the world.
And during a year, during that year, how many are typically selected?
We select normally around 200 fellows a year.
So there's a lot of competition.
There is a lot of competition, and also there is a lot of excellent ideas and excellent people in the social sector.
Yeah, you mentioned when we were talking before that there's been some dramatic changes in the social sector with the non-profit.
Yeah, the non-for-profit is really changing the world. The growth of the non-for-profit sector is amazing. For example, in Brazil, 10 years ago, only 150,000 organizations exist. Now you can find in Brazil more than 1 million.
Wow, that's a lot of growth.
Yeah, in a tiny country like Slovakia, in 1989 you don't have any organization. Today you have more than 10,000 organizations in Slovakia working.
So I think, for the viewers at home, I mean, non-profits are very well established in the United States, where democracy's been around for over 200 years, and you've got all types of different non-profits, from the Red Cross to the lots and lots of different endeavors. So it's very much a part of the American culture. However, in many of the emerging markets and international markets, it's taken a lot longer for that process to become institutionalized, and it's fantastic to hear
the
these
speed
stories.
is amazing in the emerging world, but for example, in the United States, in the last 30 years, 70% of all the non-profit sector appears in the last 30 years in the United States.
They've had that much growth in the last? I didn't realize that. That's
so this is very important, because this process in the United States has a parallel with all the process worldwide.
Yeah, there's a parallel between the growth in the U.S. and the international markets, particularly in the emerging market.
And this is very related to the lack of confidence of a lot of people in governments, in terms of the governments delivering education, health systems, and protection for human rights. So this is one of the arguments.
Sure. Well, it's an important aspect to consider. Now, how is it that Ashoka raises money and helps these social entrepreneurs find the right access to capital?
Well, first of all, Ashoka do not receive any money from any government in the world.
It's all private sector?
It's all private sector. The majority of them are international foundations, but the majority the money comes from business entrepreneurs.
So from business entrepreneurs and
then they can
international foundations.
Yes, the business entrepreneur can see in Ashoka a model that is related to a social venture capital model, and they can see in Ashoka the advantage of giving and investing in the early stage of these persons. And this reminds a lot to these business entrepreneurs how they started their business in some time.
So there's a good, I guess, they can relate from the beginning stages from when they started, and yet they can also perhaps reap the benefits of the self-gratification of doing something good for their communities, and perhaps they can extend beyond that. So what are some of the exciting Ashoka Fellows or Ashoka programs that we should keep our eyes out for?
Well, the Ashoka Fellows, We have more than 1,400 all over the world. For example, there is a fellow called Fabio Rosa.